does guided address and permanent address in case of maximum distance. Now, it is important that you see the details. One of the details asked for is the population approximate, so don't miss out on those. Question so far in these questions is that is it necessary to write Mr. or Shri before the name? That's what we have to look. Whether you write your father as Mr. So and so or just write his name, those things don't matter. The most important information is about the details. Your address should be correct, and it says that your name in block capital. So whatever is written, pay attention to the details. If your place of present and permanent and maximum is same, you can put same as above. You can repeat, doesn't matter. The next column talks about the state and district. So, Aksahja, I think you have written Pune on top followed by Maharashtra. I do not know if that is trying to indicate then it is wrong. Because what is the column saying? First, you got to fill the state.
The state first and then the...
Yeah, so these are small observations, but while filling the PIQ, when we go through, before the interview starts, we go through these details and form some sort of a mental picture about the candidate. So if you know it is there, then make sure that you fill it accordingly. Then we come to the parents' details. Those are all self-explanatory. Then we come to the next column, which is about your brothers and sisters. Here also I find that most of the time, not many times, but most of the time, the appropriate column is filled, but the tick of brother or sister isn't happening, which again implies that it is something which is incomplete. So you must tick indicating whether it is your brother and sister and then fill up the columns. Then it comes to your personal details of education. Again, they are self-explanatory. Odd cases, I have seen people putting down the total number of marks. Now, that is wrong. Because the column says, what does it say? It says percentage and division. Right? Then we move on to the next page where it is about NCC. Where people have not done any column which is irrelevant, you can put a dash or put a NA, which means that particular column is not applicable in your case. Moving down further, we move down to games and sports, whatever you have participated, those details, level plus achievement if any. Now here everybody does not pay or represent, and certain times even if you're playing casually, you must have the basic information about participation in whichever sport or discipline you are taking, which implies, like say if you're playing badminton, then you must have details of what is the dimension of the court, is it different for singles or doubles, and what is the height of the net, name of some important badminton players. Similarly, anything which you are playing casually also, you should have some basic idea or information about those things. Then we move on to hobbies and interests. Once again, what I observe is that people try to put too many things. Now, putting too many things doesn't give you any extra weightage. More important is what you write. Once again, you must have the detailed information on whatever you write. In this whole interview process, it's all about details. Okay, your assessment is based on the input of details you provide and these details relevant to the questions asked. So here also I have seen that in some odd cases what I find is that when there are more people and you're doing interviews more than one in the same day, So, he probably must be asking, यार तूने क्या लिखा? उसने कहा मैंने ये लिखा तो उसने भी वो लिख दिया. So now when that person comes to me for the interview, I can make out straight away that it is nothing but ditto and he has actually not participated in these events at all. Then we move on and we talk about name of activity, group, participation, and outstanding achievements. Once again, if you have done, put the details, if not, leave it. Then about the responsibility in NCC scouting sports teams, anything which is there. Once again, applicable differently for different people. Whatever are your achievements, put it. If not, it doesn't go against you in any case. So just be realistic, factual, and put the correct information. Finally, last column also many people leave it out. It is important that that is nature of commission. The nature of commission is of only two types. One is short service, which is written as SU, you can write short service, and one is permanent commission of PC. And then finally we talk about the chances, total number, if you have done, taken, then write down those details. The columns are self-explanatory, and if you haven't, then just leave it, or you can say nil. Okay. Now after this we come to the interview to say. So firstly, let's talk a little bit about dressing up. Make sure that you are in formals as far as possible, and wear clothes which aren't very gaudy. Okay, pastel colored shirt and trouser. Make sure your shoes are polished, and if you are wearing a tie, ensure that your top button is intact and your tie is snugly fitting in, not hanging loose. When you're sitting out and waiting for your turn, there will be occasions when somebody will be coming out from your, most probably from your batch only. So he will be coming out, somebody else goes in, you're still sitting there. Don't be anxious, don't ask him, यार तेरे को क्या पूछा, तेरे को क्या पूछा, क्या जवाब दिया. To relax. Keep your mind totally relaxed, because his PIQ will be different and the questions have different relevance. So your aim is to just relax, revise over the things, and as we go through the interview, these are the questions which are going to be asked. So score over these things, keep thinking about. Once your turn comes, the moment the bell rings, there is an element of nervousness which starts at the state, and that is natural and it happens to everybody. So there is nothing to feel bad or worried about. Knock the door if somebody there with me, walk in with a smile, go and stand by the side or front of the chair, and make sure that you wish correctly at the time of speaking. Now this is the first time you are going to say something. So if you go in the morning, then apparently it should be a good morning, and it's afternoon, it will be a good afternoon. Evenings normally these interviews are not done except in odd cases. Okay, don't be limp. Wish with confidence. Good morning, sir. Okay, some interviewing officers have the habit of shaking hands. The interviewing officer extends his hand, walk up, shake hands. Once again, whatever you do, it should not be a limp shake. If you are shaking hands, make sure that you grip from him, and then you come and sit down. When you sit down, when he asks you to sit down, polite thank you, and always sit towards the back of your chair. When you sit towards the back, your back is upright, not crouching like I am sitting. You should be upright. Once you sit down, the main thing is to be comfortable. How you place your hands, whether it's in your lap or you want to cross them in front like this, whatever you want to do, that's all fine as long as you're comfortable. The important thing here is that you must maintain eye contact. It is very important that you keep looking into the eyes of the interviewing officer as long as possible. The questions are going to be clubbed, what we call the CIQ. So pay attention, listen carefully, remember the questions, answer as many of them as you can without being reminded. Should you, however, be stuck anywhere or you feel you have missed out something, you can always say, "Sir, can you kindly repeat?" But this should not be a habit that after every question, can you repeat, then there's a problem. I said occasional cases. If you get answer in sequence, that's very good. Even if you don't answer in sequence, it doesn't matter as long as you are able to comprehend and answer, retain those questions and answer. Like I said, the assessment is based on the inputs you give. The details which you provide or a question would have, give reason how, why, even if not, you give details, but details should be very specific and they should be relevant to the topic. Now, this is an informal conversation, but there is an aim, and the aim is to extract information. And what information are we looking for? We are looking for the 15 OLQs. Now, the OLQs are related to your thought process. Okay? And how are your thoughts coming out? I can't look inside your brain. So obviously, they are coming out in what you say. So what you speak is presumed to be what you are thinking. So be very careful with that. If you are fluent in English and you can continue expressing yourself, please go ahead. At times, I find people putting unnecessary pressure trying to think about a sentence or about a word when they are not very fluent in English. Don't get stuck. At any stage, if you have any problem in expressing your thoughts, please go ahead and speak in Hindi. Speaking in Hindi is not something which is hidden. Thereafter, come back, and the best option is what we call English, which is a mixture of Hindi and English. The interviewing officer will, however, be speaking to you in English. So it is expected you will be able to understand what is being asked. Do not tell lies. Okay. Somewhere if you don't know something or you're not sure, basically acknowledge it. Whatever you can't answer, update yourself before you go for the final interview. Sometimes those questions are asked to you in the final interview itself, and based on the inputs you provide, which means that you are able to answer those questions later, your chances of recommendation do go up. Okay, but here also, like I said, that you cannot every time say, "Sorry sir, I'll find out. Occasionally things happen, and that's why I said acknowledge gracefully rather than trying to tell lies. The more lies you tell, the more complicated your life will become. Okay, so the interviewing officer will try to get into certain issues and find details. It is a bottomless pit to ask anything. It is also important that the details of service you are applying for, you should be well versed, and similarly about the general awareness, whatever is happening in the country, whatever is happening in the world, and whatever is current. Current is more important, that is your perspective. Okay, so these are the do's and don'ts of the interview. After this, I will now be starting the interview, and Aksahja, you must presume that this is the actual interview. No stopping or asking questions in between. Go ahead as you go.
Yes.
After the interview is over, I will give you a debrief. And if you have any questions or clarification, we'll stick to that. And then we will open it to the house. If anybody else has any questions, then we will clarify those as well. To the other people who are attending, please pay attention, and it will help you, because the questions would be more or less the same for everybody. It doesn't matter whether it is a boy or a girl. So pay attention, and this will help you, and that is the reason why this demo interview is given. Okay. So Aksahja, you have a very uncommon type of name. What is the meaning of this name, and who gave you this name?
Yes. So the meaning of my name, it has basically three meanings. So the first meaning is a diamond, the second is a thunderbolt, and the third one is born from the eternal. And this name was given by my father. It is originally a boy's name, but then they put a A in the ending, so it became Aksahja, and that's my name.
So out of the three explanations, where do you think you fit most?
So I think all the three, because somewhere I think like a diamond shines when they get the opportunity to shine, and that is what I did during even I did it. And talking about the thunderbolt, so yes, sometimes I think I behave like a thunderbolt as well, because I'm very firm on my decisions. So that shows the thunderbolt characteristics. And talking about the born from the eternal, so I think yes, somewhere I can relate to that as well.
Looking at you, I find you looking like a very peaceful person. Tell me something about thunderbolt activity.
So sometimes when I get really angry, like I am not usually very angry, but if some things when they don't go my way, so at that time sometimes I get agitated, but then eventually I just control myself, and that is that.
So give me one or two examples where your thunderbolt activities could get you through.
Yes, sir. So there was a time like I was the senior under officer of my college, NCC, and there were times when my juniors weren't really listening to me properly, because of course like they are just new in NCC, and we were explaining them the different kinds of things that they go through during the NCC duration. And that time, there was a time when they weren't listening to me. So at that time, I just told them in a bit louder voice that please pay attention. And that time, everyone just stopped doing whatever they were doing, and that is how it just came out.
Okay, NCC has an advantage because you've got authority and you've got power of punishment as well. Okay, Aksahja, Pune has some defense establishments, I am told. Can you tell me about those?
Yes, sir. So first and the foremost is the Southern Command in Pune, and there is also the National War Memorial in the Southern Command itself, and there is also the Territorial Army Headquarters as well in the Southern Command. There is also the National Defence Academy in Khadagwasla. It's near Pune. It's near the Pune itself. Then there is also the AFMC, that is the Armed Forces Medical College. And there are also some DRDO establishments as well near